For generations, women suffered silently with few treatment options and fertility concerns. Today, 1 in 3 will be diagnosed with fibroids. 80% of women of African descent have fibroids. Our numbers are too great for this story to continue. Will you join me in creating a new story, a movement? Let's let the world know that we are empowered, resilient, and focused. Hi, I'm Sateria. I faced fibroids at the age of 26. Freedom from fibroids will mean that women around the world will no longer have to suffer. Let's create a global movement together. Welcome to Fibroid Awareness Month 2021. Our ambassadors are joining us. Oh my goodness. We would love for you to meet our ambassador team. We have 22 chapters around the country, and they're joining us now. You'll learn more about the work that they do and how we are striving to make a difference in your community. Today, you will meet our ambassadors from Illinois, Massachusetts, Nevada, Arkansas, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania.
Hey everybody, I'm Tracy and I am the ambassador of the Little Rock chapter for the Fibroid Foundation. As you can see, I'm on the campus of the University of Arkansas at Little Rock. I'm here at Little Rock Central High School, the Civil Rights Memorial for the Little Rock Nine, the state capital of Arkansas, the Junction Bridge, William Clinton Presidential Library. If you suffer from fibroids and need support, please reach out to me. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn Drawhorn and I'm here in the beautiful Umstead Park. We have families out here, many Raleigh kids out here playing for the summer. I wanted to talk to you because I am the ambassador for the Raleigh NC chapter. We are here for you if you live in the Raleigh area, the Durham area, Chapel Hill, even Wilson and Rocky Mount. If you are on your fibroid journey, you feel like you're alone, you don't have anywhere to go, anyone to talk to, you can come to us. You can come to me. We have a sisterhood where we meet monthly. We talk about our struggles, our issues, our journeys, and we truly do connect with one another. So if you need a sister, you can find it in me.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Atkins and I am the Philadelphia Fibroid Foundation Ambassador for Philadelphia. These iconic steps behind me are the art museum steps that you probably have seen in the Rocky movies. I have been struggling with fibroids probably now for maybe 9 years, but thankfully I have a great community base through the Fibroid Foundation that I have met incredible women that have touched me in many ways and have really helped me kind of cope with what it is that I'm dealing with. So if you need a friend, if you need some information, please feel free to reach out to the Fibroid Foundation, especially the Philadelphia chapter.
Many of us face fibroid surgery. Getting ready for surgery is a challenge. Today, you will get tips on how to get everything organized for your trip to the hospital and prepare a healing environment at home. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our segment on getting organized for surgery. Today, we're going to have an opportunity to speak with several of our ambassadors, and we will have a special guest, Kay, the Organized Soprano from Boston. We hope that you will get a lot out of this segment. We look forward to your comments, and we'll go ahead and get started. So I'd like to introduce you to begin to 3 of our ambassadors with the Fibroid Foundation. Ladies, hello.
Hello.
Today it's so great to see you. And so I'll introduce you, Jermaine in Boston.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. And Francesca in Las Vegas.
Hello, everyone.
And Raquel in Charlotte.
Hello, everyone.
It's so great to see all of you. Our ambassador family just adds such richness to our organization. You all have unique stories and beautiful contributions. And today, I'm sure we'll be talking about a topic that many of us have faced or have questions about. And so, we're going to start our conversation with Kay and then look forward to joining you all for a Q&A session around the wonderful conversation that we have with Kay in Boston. So see you soon.
See you soon.
See you.
So hello, Kay, how are you?
Hi, I'm great.
So I'd like to just share a brief background about Kay with all of you. Kay is multifaceted. She has so many unique talents. She's part of our community. She is a successful organizer, a wonderful soprano, beautiful voice. And she has an adorable fur baby because I have a soft spot in my heart for the little fur people. So Kay, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited.
Oh, thank you. I was really looking forward to speaking with you because we got so much out of your content that you share on your website, which I believe is the organizedsoprano.com. I want to point everyone in the right direction. And so today I thought we'd begin by talking about your fibroid journey and talking about how our members can get organized for surgery. And, this really ties in really beautifully to the theme for Fibroid Awareness Month, which is living your best life. So, Kate, would you share a little about your fibroid journey?
Sure. I had a little bit of an advantage because I come from a medical family. My mother is an ophthalmologist and my father is an oral surgeon. And medical knowledge was always available whether I needed to look at it or not. So I was always really well versed in human body and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean that I always paid attention to what was going on with my own person. And when my mother was actually pregnant with me, she had several uterine fibroids, I think over 100 or something like that, when she was pregnant with me in the 70s, and promptly had a complete hysterectomy after I was born. So she told me that, and I kind of put it out of my brain. And 42 years later, I end up with all of these strange symptoms around my period. I developed a really heavy period, and a lot of people have heavy periods, and have had heavy periods all my life. But it got to a place where I was having breakthrough bleeding. I was needing to, buy new jeans when I was out. I had tampons and pads. I was using the high absorbency tampon on the market, and I was sleeping at night during my menstrual cycle. Became this "is it going to be okay" kind of game about, sleep with a towel under your person or not. So with that, I got to be a little bit concerned, and then I started having some back pain and basically some cramping all the time. And I thought it had something to do with the IUD that I had been using. I've been using Paragard, which is the copper IUD, not the hormonal IUD. So I figured maybe there was something going on with that. So I went to my gynecologist, and he promptly did an ultrasound on me and was like, "Hey, it looks like you have at least one fibroid." And at that moment, I said to myself, I was like, oh yeah, fibroids, that's a thing, right? But I didn't know that it could cause all of these symptoms. And I ended up going back to the gynecologist after a couple of weeks to have the fibroids mapped, and he found at least 3 or 4 pretty significantly sized fibroids, like the size of a plum, cherry, those kinds of sizes. And he gave me a number of options. And the first was a hormonal IUD, and I just didn't want to add any more hormones to the mix. So I opted for a myomectomy to be done laparoscopically. and I had it done last September, and it has been completely life-changing. Like, my periods are totally manageable now. I don't have to worry about being caught out and not being prepared enough or having enough protection. I sleep much better now. I don't have as many cramps. It's just, and I don't feel as tired. I did actually have a long period of time where I was pretty severely anemic, from iron deficiency, and I was taking iron pills. I was visiting hematologists, and it kind of all resolved itself after I had the fibroids removed. So that's
Um,
the story.
well, that's quite a story, and I'm so glad that you're feeling better. You really pointed out some key points that I think will resonate with many people. One being, since you had already always had heavy cycles, it didn't, you were used to coping. And so
Mm-hmm.
with the heavy periods, you just kind of adjusted. And I think so many of us do that.
Mm-hmm.
And even though you had, the benefit of coming from a family focused on medical care, you too took care of yourself in a way that, some of the symptoms kind of escalated a bit. And it was a lot to manage. And I think that there's so many people who will be able to resonate, that story will resonate with. So thank you for sharing that. So with you being an organizer, when you went to the hospital, how did you prep for the hospital visit? How did you organize? Because we get that question a lot. What should I take with me?
Mm-hmm.
What will I need when I go? What will I need when I come home? So can you share some tips that you might have for folks who are like you, who are prepping for surgery or for a procedure, and to just help them create some organization around that process?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first thing I always recommend if you're going into the hospital for any kind of surgery is to prepare your house for the fact that you won't be able to be available to care for it for at least a week, right? If you're having laparoscopic surgery, you usually recover a little quicker, about a week. So in taking that into consideration, I make sure I clean my house from top to bottom. If you're unable to do that, just do the best you can. I made sure that everything was clean, everything was organized, and that you had care set up for, like, eating, and care set up for any pets that you may or may not have, because they're part of the equation too, or children you may be caring for, whether they're yours or kids that live with you, because you won't be available for at least a week to pretty much do anything but heal and take care of yourself. Um, Another thing I like to tell people when they're having surgery or when they're planning to go into the hospital is that you need to tell someone that is around you, that is going to care for you, that you won't be able to care for yourself, at least for the first few days, and that they need to be prepared for that. Some people don't know what to expect when someone comes home from surgery, especially if they've had any kind of abdominal surgery. Sitting up will be hard. Actually, laying down will be difficult. You might need help with that. So let them know that they need to be prepared to help you with things that may seem a little bit mundane. Um, and the other thing I like to tell people is the paperwork that the hospital will give you is going to be a lot, and you're going to need to have that organized. They'll give you paperwork for when you go in the hospital. They give you paperwork for when you come out of the hospital and when you are recovering. They're giving you paperwork for the drugs that you may need to take for pain medicine. Make sure I always buy like a little pocket to organize that stuff, and you don't even have to be like super neat about it. You can just stick them all in there, and if you need to find them, at least they're in that one pocket. The other thing I like to tell people is that dress comfortably for the hospital. Don't wear anything that is too difficult to get on and off. That includes sneakers that have laces, very comfortable t-shirts that are loose, loose sweatpants. Don't even bother with jeans. I mean, don't even bother with jeans. Sweatpants, sweatshirt, t-shirt, everything that's loose and going to be comfortable and easy to take on and off. Um, even easier than I think a t-shirt is probably a button-down shirt, but just something that's really comfortable. Because in my case, I was operated on and released on the same day. So I was very barely able to dress myself when it came down to it. And I did have help from a very nice nurse, but just make it easier on yourself and just be prepared to be comfortable. You don't have to look cute at the hospital. No one's going to be putting you on Instagram or Twitter or any of that stuff. Just be comfortable.
Those are fantastic tips. And I got so much out of it too. And I wholeheartedly agree. And you touched on something that's really important, which is food to have around that is really easy to kind of help you coat your stomach if you're taking medication. I would have applesauce, those little cups of applesauce, and maybe some crackers. If I had to take medicine and I wasn't particularly hungry, that was really important for me. And also, one of the things I did was, my mom told me this. She said, you have to stay ahead of the pain. And sometimes when you've had a surgery, the pain starts as kind of like a dull ache, and then it escalates very quickly. And my mom told me you have to, pain halts healing. So I never took like the full amount of medicine that was needed, but I did take like half a pill, but on a regular schedule for like 2 or 3 days following the surgery. And 2 or 3 days is what was needed for me. I know that everyone is different. And a half a pill worked for me, but I tried to make sure that I didn't find myself, kind of disabled by any painful symptoms. And that helps you to heal, helps you to rest. And I love the packet that you mentioned about taking your records, because there's a lot of information that you're absorbing pre-surgery instructions and things like that. So all incredibly helpful. So thank you, Kay. I thought that we would bring and welcome our ambassadors back, because I know that they have questions and comments as well, so that we can continue the conversation. So I thought we'd welcome back our ambassadors to continue this wonderful conversation with Kay, the Organized Soprano. So again, we have Jermaine in Boston, Raquel in Charlotte, and Francesca in Las Vegas. Hello.
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 Hi.
So I'll start with Jermaine. Jermaine, did you have any comments or questions on the information that Kay shared?
Sure. Kay, was there any aspect of preparing that after you had your surgery, you felt like you wish that you were more prepared for?
That is a good question. I actually wish that I had planned more more palatable foods for when I first got home. I had some foods that I had prepared to eat when I got home from surgery, but I think something like soup, crackers, rice, things that are just like really easy to eat and easy to prepare when you're not feeling very hungry. Where I wish I had prepared more of those for the first couple of days, because it just wasn't feeling very hungry after I got home.
That's a great question. I know that Kay went home the same day. I, for my myomectomy, stayed overnight. I don't remember whether it was 1 or 2 days, because my hemoglobin was low from the surgery, and so I had to be transfused before I could be released. But ask your doctor if you don't feel comfortable being at home, because I think that everyone's stay in the hospital should be a case-by-case basis. There should be no set mandate that everyone goes home at the same time, or that, just whatever that person needs. And sometimes an overnight stay is needed, even for robotic surgeries. So that's a great conversation. And so now I'll transition to Francesca. Francesca, did you have any comments or questions?
Yes. The question that I have for you, Kay, is how did you prepare emotionally before your surgery? what was your optimism, your level of optimism, and how did you prepare mentally, before you went into surgery? Did you have any anxiety? Was there a sense of, how did you prepare mentally before you went in?
Well, it was I had the advantage of having I've had some surgeries before. I'm a little accident prone and had broken some bones before, so I had had some emergency surgeries before where I didn't have time to emotionally prepare, and this was the first time where I had actually had time to sort of decide to have surgery and then have a lead up time to and time to get anxious, and I was a little anxious about surgery. However, um, having had some surgeries before, I know that the medical staff at the hospital is there to care for you. They're there to make sure they're there to make you comfortable, especially right before they put you under anesthesia. They're very, very good, especially the anesthesiologist, all the surgeons, to make you feel like they're going to take care of you. Um, but there's always a little bit of nervousness. I had my surgery during the pandemic. That was a layer of anxiety on top of all that as well. So, the best thing I did for myself before surgery though was meditate and just have faith that everything is going to come out okay on the other side. And I also like to remember all the time that under anesthesia, you won't remember a darn thing. And as soon as they put that stuff into your IV, it's done within like 10 seconds, and you just wake up and it's done.
Yes.
That's the worst part.
That's really important because our mental health is huge, and there can be anxiety. I had anxiety attacks as a result of one of the medications I was on to prep me for surgery. So I was on Xanax
Oh.
prior to my myomectomy to help me stay calm, and some other medications because my blood pressure spiked. So that was challenging but necessary. And I think that that's an excellent question because many of us feel that. I did have a lot of comfort in the surgical suite with the myomectomy because the surgeon actually rubbed my hand as they were administering the anesthesia. And I thought that was such a caring touch. And it gave me such a level of peace prior to going under. So I knew that I was in good hands. And when I speak at conferences, I always tell that story to other physicians so that they can know from the patient perspective what was meaningful to us. So great question. And so Raquel, I'll transition to you. Do you have questions or comments for Kay?
I do. So being that for the workaholics like myself, how do you prepare for this work-wise, and what suggestions would you have for informing your employer that you want to be having, this type of surgery? Do you go into detail and explain to them, what type of surgery you're having, and why you're going to be down for a little bit? Or with the pandemic, where we're all pretty, what you advise while you're recovering, just, taking off like a day or two after surgery and while recovering, still continuing to take the full time, just to, just to think and focus on healing.
I think what you tell your employer depends on your comfort level with your with your higher ups. I think that giving yourself a day or two after surgery is not enough time. I think that if you're having any kind of surgery, you're gonna want to give yourself at least 5 days, the entire work week off. Always, I always encourage people to give themselves more time to heal than they think will be necessary. Because I know that the surgeon told me that I'll be down at least a week, and I gave myself A little longer than that. I think I gave myself a couple of weeks to heal completely before I started working again. In my case, my job is a little bit more physical. I'm lifting things. I'm making shelving. I'm kind of doing those things. But if your job is a little more cerebral and a little more sitting at a computer, I would still give yourself 5 days to recover at the very longest, because an abdominal surgery is a pretty major surgery. Even if it's a laparoscopic surgery, you're going to be really sore and you might not be able to focus. So I say take all of the sick days that you can get from this procedure, because you're going to need time not only to heal physically, but to sort of mentally get your mind back in the game. This is a it's a big deal, because your life is hopefully going to change for the better after that. And I know for me, unfortunately, after the myomectomy, I got my period, which was the worst timing. So you never know what's going to happen. So I always say give yourself a lot more time. A few days is not enough time.
That's great feedback, because with the laparoscopic surgeries, usually the recovery time is shorter. But if you have an abdominal incision, you could be home for weeks. And I made the mistake of trying to rush back to work. And even though I had a sedentary job where I was sitting at a desk, the process of walking from where I parked to the building was just, I could feel every step, because I hadn't been walking on concrete down the street. I had been walking around the house, and I was still tender. So that's great feedback. Just take the time that you need. The work will be there when you get there, and hopefully you have understanding employers, and perhaps that can be one of the positive takeaways from the pandemic, is that more folks are used to working from home, and that there hopefully is greater flexibility, so that you can have that option to work from home until you really are fully 100%, because you really heal from the inside out. And there's many layers that need to heal. So taking great care of yourself is pivotal. So fantastic questions. And so I will close by saying that, Kay, we really appreciate you. We're so happy to have been able to build a meaningful relationship with you and your organization. And I think that it brings such wonderful feedback and information into the fold, into our community. So thank you for your time today. And to our ambassadors, I'm sending you all a virtual hug. Hopefully we'll be able to meet in person soon. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And with that, I'll say thank you to our audience, and everyone be well.